Before we begin today's checkup, I want to ask you something very important, not about your blood pressure, not even your cholesterol, but about something far more insidious. Something I've seen creeping silently into the lives of far too many of my patients. Over 60, have you noticed that climbing stairs is harder than it used to be? That rising from a chair feels like more of an effort? Maybe your legs feel stiff in the morning. Or you find yourself avoiding bending down to tie your shoes? If so, I want you to listen closely. Because what you're experiencing may not just be getting older, it could be sarcopenia, progressive, loss of skeletal, muscle mass, and strength. And left unchecked, it doesn't just slow you down, it steals your independence. But here's the good news. There's a prescription I can offer that doesn't require a pharmacy. It starts with 5 simple fruits that are clinically shown to slow, even reverse, muscle loss. Let's talk about them. Your muscles are listening. 1. The Smooth Muscle Defender Avocado. Let's start with one that doesn't look like mucha green, leathery fruit that people often mistake for fattening. Avocados. Now, medically speaking, avocados are one of nature's richest sources of monounsaturated fatty acids, particularly oleic acid. This is the very type of fat I recommend to patients with chronic low-grade inflammation, a key driver of As we age, our muscle tissue is under a slow, constant assault. Inflammatory cytokines, like TNF-alpha and IL-6 rise, eroding muscle fibers, interfering with repair processes. But avocados work against that. They calm the inflammation, reduce oxidative stress through vitamin E, and nourish your muscles with potassium and magnesium, critical for neuromuscular signaling. Here's a clinical pearl. One avocado contains more potassium than a banana, and when combined with magnesium, they regulate electrolyte balance, preventing cramps and irregular contractions, something I see far too often in older adults. Do you recall Clara, the 72-year-old I mentioned last year? She suffered nightly leg cramps, waking exhausted. We didn't reach for pills. Why? Reached for half an avocado a day. 2 weeks later, the cramps stopped. Her energy returned, and she smiled for the first time in months. This fruit is not indulgence. It is intervention. 2. The recovery agent Tart cherry. Now, let's talk about soreness. You know that stiff, heavy feeling in your thighs when you get up from the couch? Or how the day after gardening, your shoulders ache like you've run a marathon? That's not normal. That's inflammation and delayed muscle recovery. Tart cherries, particularly in the form of Montmorency cherry juice, contain high concentrations of anthocyanins, powerful the same pathway targeted by ibuprofen. But unlike NSAIDs, Tart cherry doesn't carry the gastrointestinal risks. Instead, it provides a natural reduction in muscle damage biomarkers like creatine kinase and C-reactive protein. In a study published by the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, marathon runners consuming Tart cherry juice experienced 43% less post-exercise soreness. Now, you may not be running marathons, but when you mop the floor or walk around the grocery store, your muscles are working hard. And they, too, need recovery. Plus, Tart cherry contains melatonin, supporting sleep architecture. And as your doctor, I'll tell you plainly, muscles heal at night. If you're not sleeping well, your muscles are not recovering. Imagine 1 8-ounce glass of Tart cherry juice in the evening could reduce inflammation, soothe pain, and deepen sleep. That's a triple win for aging muscles. 3. The circulatory booster, Pomegranate. Let's go deeper to your vasculature, your blood vessels. You see, your muscles are only as strong as their oxygen supply. And for that, we need optimal circulation. Enter the pomegranate. Often underestimated, these ruby red seeds are a reservoir of polyphenols, particularly What's fascinating is that punnicollagen enhances nitric oxide synthesis, which relaxes blood vessels and improves endothelial function. Why should you care? Because poor circulation starves muscle tissue of oxygen and nutrients. That's one reason older adults fatigue so is. A study in the Journal of Nutrition showed that older adults who consumed pomegranate extract before activity showed improved endurance and reduced fatigue. And let's not forget the mitochondria of powerhouses of your muscle cells. Pomegranate supports mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning it actually helps your body build more energy factories in each cell. That translates to more stamina, quicker recovery, and fewer days spent feeling drained. My patient George, age 74, drinks 4 ounces of pomegranate juice before gardening. It's like giving my muscles a jumpstart, he says. And he's not wrong. He's supporting his mitochondria every time. So the next time you slice open a pomegranate, know this. You're not just eating fruit. You're fueling vascular vitality and muscle resilience. 4. The muscle hormone modulator Prunes. Now, I want to introduce a fruit you probably think is only for digestion. Prunes. But allow me to change your perspective. Yes, Prunes are rich in soluble fiber, which is critical for glycemic control and gut microbiota balance. But what's more important here is their impact on muscle-preserving hormones. Prunes are loaded with polyphenols that stimulate the Ig pathway, insulin-like growth factor 1, which directly promotes muscle protein synthesis. Even more, they may reduce myostatin, a compound that tells the body to stop building muscle. In one lab study, extracts from prunes led to increased muscle cell diameter actual growth at the cellular level. Prunes are also one of the best natural sources of boron, a trace mineral that enhances calcium and magnesium uptake, key nutrients for both muscle and bone strength. For older adults facing both sarcopenia and osteopenia, prunes offer a unique dual-action benefit. My Aunt Helen once scoffed, "I'm not old enough for prunes." But a month later, after 5 prunes with breakfast, she told me, "My joints creak less, my walks feel easier, and I sleep better." These aren't snacks. They're therapeutic agents. 5. The peel that fights wasting apples last, but absolutely not least, is the humble apple. You've heard the adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, I'd argue it might keep frailty away, too. Apples, especially with the pill, contain ursolic acid, a triterpenoid compound that has shown remarkable effects in laboratory settings. Ursolic acid does 2 things. Stimulates IGF-1, like prunes, suppresses myostatin, allowing for increased muscle growth potential. It also improves glucose metabolism, reduces fat accumulation, and enhances mitochondrial efficiency. That means more strength, less fatigue, and better endurance. In fact, studies from the University of Iowa show that animals supplemented with ursolic acid gained muscle and lost fat, even under disuse conditions. In human models, early evidence is similarly promising. Apples also contain quercetin, another antioxidant that protects mitochondrial membranes, improving energy production. And don't forget, the pectin in the peel. This soluble fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, reduces systemic inflammation, and stabilizes post-meal blood sugar. My patient David, 79, swears by his daily apple peel and all. "Keeps me regular and keeps me young," he says, and I'll tell you his lab results agree. The doctor's prescription now. I know this may sound too simple. 5 fruits. That's it. But let me be very clear. Each of these fruits targets a different mechanism of muscle decline, is supported by clinical data, is safe for most patients, even those managing blood sugar or hypertension, and can be integrated into your routine immediately. You don't need supplements, injections, or fads. You need consistency, knowledge, and a willingness to let food be your first medicine. If you're feeling weaker, slower, more fatigued than you used to, don't ignore it. That's your body calling for help. These fruits answer that call. So, here's your prescription. Half an avocado with breakfast, 4 ounces, tart cherry juice before bed. Pomegranate seeds in your lunch. Salad, 5 prunes with breakfast or as a snack. 1 whole apple peel on each day. Not all at once, but start somewhere. And if you're unsure where to begin, maybe start with the apple. That's simple. Sweet bite may just be your first step toward reclaiming your strength. Now, before you go, do you have any of these fruits at home today?